him up to anything.
Hello. Welcome to the Today's podcast with yours truly, James Lee. And
hi, everybody. Dani Love here, James's handler, reporting live from the Today's studio.
Yes.
Right?
I was going to introduce you as my handler. Yes, Dani is my handler, a pretty good one. And thank you so much as well to the Patreon subscribers, members. Thank you for keeping the show going. We have a great show, actually, for everybody today. A great show.
And it's episode 30. So
that's a big milestone for us. Episode 30, we had the initial goal of hitting 10,000 subscribers.
Yes.
By episode 30, and we are at 10,000.
We barely made it across the finish line.
Thank you so much for being here. And, hopefully now the next goal, we got to go to 100,000, I guess.
Yep. Spread the news. I'm spreading the news. I feel like this is going to be a sing-songy episode for me. The title of the episode is Kiss the Wall. And we're going to talk about how do you say his name again?
Clavicular. Clavicular. I don't know how do you say his name, but we're definitely going max. We're covering the wall. There's some updates around Charlie Kirk,
and
Erika
USA.
Kirk,
yes.
Turning point. And, we will get into later on in the show ice, the storms.
No, I mean, I would love to go there, but do you know I think it's going to be a sing-songy show?
Why?
Because I was thinking about the Katy Perry song, I kissed the wall and I liked it. I thought that would be like a good intro for the episode. So Clavicular, however you say his name, he's a part of the new guy gang of the Tates, and
he's been around for a while.
Sneeko, no, he hasn't.
Yes, he has.
He's kind of popped out of nowhere in the last 6 months.
Really? I thought he's been in a couple of years based on my understanding.
He got very popular because he said Sydney Sweeney's a 6.
Well, I don't believe that. But so no, just to recap the story. Okay, we covered this at the end of the show last week. Okay,
yes.
When it was like Andrew Tate, Sneeko,
Nick Fuentes,
Myron Gaines, Nick Fuentes. They all went to the club and they were playing Kanye's hit song, and they got in trouble for it. And now Sneeko's being thrown under the bus. So I do believe, he is thrown under the bus because he wasn't even the one that came up with this idea to play that song, and he did. And now he's been banned from all the clubs. They have all been banned from all the clubs.
In Miami.
Not even just Miami. I think throughout the country, because these guys own other clubs. He's been banned from the Tao nightclub.
I was just going to say, is Tao one of them?
Yeah. So anyways, now there's been possibly so before we get into the olive branch, I think it's absolutely ridiculous.
Let's play the clip before you have any commentary. Let's just play the clip. So he's live streaming Clavicular, or however you say his name. He's streaming on a weekend, and he gets a text from one of the club owners telling him what he has to do in order to get back into the clubs. Here it is.
Oh shit, let's see this. David Grutman said I have to kiss the... He said I have to kiss the wall in Israel to get unbanned. Yo.
I have to take a trip.
Look at this clip. They actually said I had to kiss the wall to get unbanned from the club. That's not even a troll. That's David Grutman, the owners of the club.
So you tell me you're going to Israel.
What the fuck? They're not even trolling at this point. Yeah. Yeah, I'm watching a clip right now.
Okay.
Yeah. So, what I have to say about that, obviously, is you can't say that, you don't own stuff when all of a sudden, these people are just whatever, playing some song, and then it gets banned from all the clubs. I think and then you have to go to Jerusalem. What is that all about?
It is the weirdest thing in the world. This kissing the wall thing to me is so odd. And offline, you and I were talking about this, and I read a lot of like fantasy, romantasy books, and I'm like, is there like some sort of like a powerful contract that happens? Like when your lips touch the wall, all of a sudden you're like, ooh, like you're under their control now. We're like, what is going on with this?
Switch hats.
Oh my God. Please, ladies and gentlemen, stay with us.
Yeah.
James has to put on the bucket hat. This is important news.
All right, now I'm going to go Max. Here we go. Wait, hold on.
Your string is...
The string is out. Hold on.
Oh
All right,
my
now
God.
I'm going Max here.
Oh my God. Thank God. That was, unbelievable.
No, it's okay. So this is not even with these guys. The new, the president, President Bolsonaro of Brazil. He was president of Brazil for a long time. Now his son is running for president in Brazil. And guess what the first thing he has to do is?
It is, I just find it so weird.
He's got to go,
but
he's got to go to the wall. He just went to the wall.
Okay, but like Clavicular or whatever his name is. He goes and he's like, I want to get in the clubs. And then he goes, and then he's like, I don't really give a shit about Israel. But like, so what's like the real, like, you know what I mean?
It's a sign. It's like a humiliation ritual. It's like, hey, you go there and you show allegiance to us. And when you're there, we're going to collect some dirt on you. There's been stories, all kinds of stories being told by people who go to Israel. Weird things happen in their hotel, or maybe they get some girls over and they have a good time and now they got some dirt on you, or they just show you they can do something, right? Matt Gaetz went over there. He's like, somebody's in my room. You've heard this story, right? He says he goes to his diplomatic trip and he could tell when he gets back, it's like, okay, some person has broken into my room, whatever. You heard that we played that clip from the CIA guy with the diplomat saying they just go to your room, they cut the tail off your dog just to show you that they can do it. This kind of crazy stuff. And then you know who is the boss.
No, they shit in all the toilets. Don't forget the most important thing. And I said, are they timing the shits or do they bring the shits there? Which I still think about from time to time. I still believe the cooler. I think they're transporting the shits to drop in the toilet. But either way, some sort of psychological warfare. But you're saying, oh, it's a humiliation ritual. That seems very likely.
I think it is. It's like the same thing with Elon Musk with the black eye. They do these things to make sure that if
Aren't
you
those
step
called
out of line.
panda eyes?
Yes.
And didn't Macron have a pair of those last week at the WEF?
Oh, at the WEF.
And he had to wear the aviators?
He said burst blood vessel.
Which happens when Brigitte 1-2 punch. But yes, I think humiliation ritual, and I have no problem saying, is there some Harry Potter shit going on there too?
What do you mean Harry Potter?
I don't
shit?
know. Like, is there some sort of a spell on that wall? Because it seems like you're going to great lengths to kiss.
It's the holy wall. I don't understand the significance, to be honest. I don't like the whole religious significance. There is some religious significance of the wall. Okay, but it seems like it's now more serving a political purpose.
I just wonder if there's a jinx, a hoax, a spell, which I know everyone's going to be like, Jesus, she's really off her. Actually, they'll probably think I'm less off my rocker for this take, but it just seems like, why not just force him to do an apology letter like Kanye West released today? It's like they couldn't get to the boy bands of the Nick Fuentes and the Andrew Tate, so now Kanye has released a apology letter.
Oh, he has. Let's see what he said here.
I believe Wall Street Journal released this today. Here it is. If you want to...
This is from Kanye right here. To those I've hurt. 25 years ago, I was in a car accident that broke my jaw and caused injury to the right frontal lobe of my brain.
Okay, first of all, when he broke his jaw, that's when he came up with the genius song, Through the Wire, because his jaw was wired shut. Through the wire. Dun, dun. No?
No.
James doesn't know good music. Go ahead.
At the time, the focus was on the visible damage, the fracture, the swelling, and the immediate physical trauma. The deeper injury, the one inside my skull, went unnoticed. Comprehensive scans were not done, neurological exams were limited, and the possibility of a frontal lobe injury was never raised. Is he saying he literally has a brain injury and that's why he went off the rocker? Is this what
I mean, I'm just going to say before you even finish this, this is some chat GPT shit. This is the Tyler Robinson, Lance Twiggs messages, text messages back and forth.
Yeah.
This is some clone Kanye shit right here.
Well, so some people say that Kanye, he, for whatever reason with Kim, something with Kim, and then he had to be brought back in line.
As your handler, I know how this works.
Okay, tell me.
And so Kim was his handler. He was getting to truth-telling. They warned him. He didn't listen. He told the world, hey, if I go away and come back not looking like myself, it's not me. And then we had Shaquille O'Neal West re-enter the scene, if you don't remember. Little Kanye came back in, Paris Fashion Week around 6 feet.
Yeah.
It was like when Joe Biden was on stilts that one time. And I was like, whoa, he looks tall.
So then what do you think got to, like, how do you make a shift from making the H8 song to now saying I have a frontal lobe damage,
Well, don't you say that the ADL creates anti-Semitism in order for them to stay in business?
Yes.
So wouldn't that be like a perfect playbook if they were in control of Kanye?
Oh, you stoke the anti-Semitism, and then you bring them back into line.
What do you think?
Well, it's. I don't want to read through this entire thing.
I'm blowing the floppy hat right off today.
Okay, so go. Okay, so I do want to play the Sneeko response, just so I think he. This is C3, just to hear what he has to say about it, because. Oh, this is. Oh, sorry. This is Andrew Tate's response, and then Sneeko's responding to him, because I do think there's something to this where Andrew Tate, and we'll play another one of his clips later, he's like, yo, if you keep going like this, they will kill you.
Well, yeah, and he went on, I don't know who the kid is, but I have that clip too where he films in the warehouse. He's kind of like a ginger.
Yeah.
And Andrew Tate said Candace Owens basically is playing the closest to the sun when it comes to the Charlie Kirk assassination. Basically she's right. But anyways, let's watch, as I called them last week, the Taint brothers. Oops.
Why do you think you're getting so much pushback? The internet seems to think you've capitulated to just the whole situation.
I didn't. I just said I didn't play the song because I didn't play the song. The internet now has become so anti-Semitic that even if you believe that the Jews have too much control over the American government,
so bad.
You're starting to think I may as well just join the fucking Jews now because everything you do.
Gee, bro, just do it, man. Just do it. You so clearly want to. With the tech teams in Israel, you hate the fact that you're getting pressure. You are folding over a song. Just give up, man. This cope thing and this apology tour or whatever this is, this cope tour you're going on it's so bad for your legacy. I'm telling you, Andrew, for the safety of your legacy, because whatever nonsense aside, you did have a really important impact on the culture, undeniably. Andrew, for your legacy, because you did do important things in 2022, and there's even still people in this chat, even though you're destroying your legacy right now, that still respect that. To protect it, go out like Habib. Don't go out like McGregor. Maybe McGregor come back. That's not a diss at him, but you see the way they speak about his legacy compared to Habib since that fight. This is pathetic, and it's not working. Just join. You're saying I want to join the Jews so bad. Just join them. Kiss the wall. Take the money. Take the deal that you said you were never going to take. Just do it. That would be so much better. You should take that deal and join Israel. Join the Zionist lobby. You so badly want to work with them. The Trump administration, Elon Musk, you want to be like them. Just do it. What's this 1 foot in, 1 foot out anger? Don't get mad at us for speaking about Israel because you don't want to. Just let it. This is a position that nobody has tried to be in, and it's not working.
Right, because
join them.
So they've threatened Andrew Tate with all kinds of different things, right? He had to basically seek exile in Romania for the longest period of time. So it's not like he's new or he's facing these threats for the first time. So this buckling is very interesting. And now it's is there a new revelation that he just says, I can't beat them, might as well join them? That seems like what's happening to Andrew Tate right now.
I don't know, but I didn't really know about Sneeko. It's not like I'm somebody who watches his stream or anything, but I really like him a lot. And isn't he actually half Jewish?
No.
I'm pretty sure one of his parents is Jewish. You can look it up.
I'll look at. I don't think he is, but
I'm either way.
He's outwardly Muslim. He says he's Muslim. So I don't know. Yeah, he's of Haitian Filipino descent.
No, nothing there.
No.
Oh, okay. Oh, I read one of them, I guess, that was on that bus that's like anti the Israel thing. For some reason, I thought it was Sneeko. But either way, him saying like your legacy does matter, go out like Khabib. I actually understood that because my husband loves UFC. Khabib was like the #1 fighter in the world, and he just like went out being number one on top. Where like McGregor kept doing these paid fights and then getting his ass beat and embarrassing himself. And that's basically what Andrew Tate is like, going in that direction. Like, stand on your morals and like get out while you can. Or, like he said, you know, do the new Katy Perry song, I Kissed the Wall and I Liked It.
That's what I'm saying. I think there is some kind of levels of threats. Like, we're not near big enough at this juncture to be faced with those predicaments quite yet. But you certainly, once you get to a certain level, have to, right? You see Larry Fink. Okay.
Excuse me, I didn't think he was Jewish. I thought there was Jewish relatives that I read online. Thank you, chat. Go ahead.
Because did you see the pin that Larry Fink was wearing at the WEF?
No.
Okay, so there's a photo of him in the notes that we have. Larry Fink, D4 right there.
Is it a menorah?
No, it's a little blue square.
Oh.
So this blue square is like Robert Kraft's basically pro-Israel organization. So it's like you have to like do these things where you're showing your allegiance in a very subtle way, because I don't think this was not a thing about Israel at all.
Okay.
But he's talking about the World Economic Forum, the banks, the funding of the whole New World Order. But you got to wear this pin.
Okay. One thing that I have to say is that last night I was watching TV, like kind of watching it. Adam was watching some sort of a football game or whatever was on. And he was like, no way. And there was a blue square ad.
That's what I'm saying.
I had never heard of this. And he's like, what the fuck is this? And it was like, if you know somebody, you know, da-da-da. And then also, I would just like to read Starduster1265. She's right. Sneeko said his father is half Jewish. Thank you, chat.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. The chat always comes through.
Thank you.
Chat always comes through. Okay, I didn't know. I mean, based on the quick Google search, didn't say he was Jewish, but I guess his dad is Jewish. So wait, so
Half.
Sneeko
said his dad is half Jewish.
Let's see. Is that true? Sneeko. Okay, so 8 months ago, there's a story. Yeah, Sneeko finds out he's Jewish.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. She's such an idiot. Da-da-da. No, not today, chat.
All right.
No, I'm just kidding. I love you guys.
So Dani is somewhat on the verge of choosing violence. Hopefully, let's. But anyway, okay. So you see this. Here, let's put this back up. This blue square thing.
So yeah, people are wondering what the blue square is. Is it like the new Black Lives Matter thing where you have to have like a black?
Yes.
It's crazy.
Yes, but it's specifically for showing that you are pro-Israel. They're saying against anti-Semitism. Okay, that's what they're, coining it as. But it really is about supporting Israel.
Right. Which again, they have to stop conflating the two things.
And this is when the guy, the wide receiver, the NFL guy, Puka, when he was on the stream with Aiden Ross, and they made him do that, he had to also do the blue square as well on his Instagram.
Aiden Ross did?
No, not Aiden Ross.
Puka?
I
don't know.
Puka Nacua. He's a wide receiver, LA Rams. But he was on a stream with Aiden Ross, and he didn't really know. I don't think he knew what he was doing, to be honest. Aiden Ross was like, hey, do this. When you do a touchdown, like do this dance, and he was doing like the Jewish merchant thing. And he had no idea what was going on.
Oh.
And then he had to apologize on his Instagram for that. Also posting this blue square.
Yeah, it's just crazy. I don't understand why all of these world leaders and all of these different people have to kiss the wall. Here's another one. I think this is just, 2 days ago. Department of Justice employee Leo Terrell is currently in Israel on his first visit, where he prayed at the Western Wall in Jerusalem. Terrell said being in the Holy Land has left him struggling to find the words, describing the experience as overwhelming. During his visit, he demands on Americans to put an end to the hatred towards Jewish people. Terrell serves as chairman of the task force to combat anti-Semitism, quote, "It's a privilege to be here and God bless the state of Israel."
Yes.
And here he is.
Oh, are we going to hear him speak, or do we need to? Do we need to listen to this guy or no?
Up to you.
All right, let's play. Let's see what he says.
But there he is. It doesn't look like he kissed it.
You don't. Yeah.
So I wonder if there's different levels. But
well, no, I think kissing is like a euphemism. I think they do the thing where their head's on it.
Oh,
right? They don't actually like make out with the wall.
Oh, I was gonna say
they put their head. Usually, it's like their head like leans onto the wall, and it's like a kiss of the forehead.
Oh, because I was gonna say very unhygienic. Can you imagine how many strands of germs are on that wall?
It's hard to speak being in this spiritual holy land. I'm here to accept an award. First time I've been to the state of Israel, and if I had any wish or blessings, let the Israeli people live in peace, and let's stop the war, and more importantly, let's stop the hatred towards Jewish people. It's a privilege to be here, and God bless the state of Israel.
Yeah. No, see,
it's hard.
This is what I'm talking. So they're tying it to. So this is. I was making this point in one of my videos the other day, and they're saying it's like anti-Semitic to not support Israel, but it's anti-Semitism is just racism towards the Jewish people. So it's be saying that I don't like black people or something like that, but it's not. But saying that you don't support a certain country, that's not racist. That's just a political ideology, which is totally different than saying, because it's not like, oh, you oppose the Chinese government, so therefore you are racist against all ethnically Chinese people.
Well, and I would say that you woke me up to this because there's such heavy propaganda around this issue, right? Where people don't realize that they're conflating the two. And so you and I started this podcast. It wasn't one of my topics, right? I'm looking at weather modification and chemtrails and the cabal and the central banks and other things.
But if you dig deeper into the central banks, then you'll kind of
these
issues kind of come together a little bit, from my understanding.
Yes, of course they can. Absolutely. But at the end of the day, I was just saying this the other day to Adam, that I am a United States citizen. I'm a Christian. I owe no other country my loyalty.
Well, you obviously haven't read Genesis 12:3. We'll get into this today. We're going Max. We're going into all kinds of stuff today.
But I have. And the thing is that every single scripture has been revised, right? That's why they have all the different versions. The King James version, the NIV version.
And they have notes. They have notes.
We need the Dead Sea Scrolls up in this bitch. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I need. I need a historian, and I need to scroll it out.
Right. So we are going to get into in this episode today why Christian Zionism is so critical in terms of ensuring that Christian Americans continue to support Israel.
Well, why don't we just segue into it now?
We're going to get, but I do want to play one last clip here in terms of craziness, in terms of the conflation of the two. Check out this new Australia law that has just been passed.
I mean, this is always...
Have you seen this?
No, but Australia is always coming out with some WEF crazy laws.
Look at this law that's been passed.
During COVID, they were just like, horrible with their different stuff. The digital IDs, they're always on it. Let's see.
Would a group be banned if it accuses Israel of genocide or apartheid, and as a result, Jewish Australians do feel intimidated?
If those criteria are satisfied, then that is the case. If there is that fear, and if there is a reasonable person test in here as well, so if that is satisfied, then that would come within the scope of these provisions.
Okay. Would a group be banned if it accuses Israel?
If you remember that from a few weeks ago, where they were, there was a horrible mass shooting that occurred. You can believe it was a false flag. You can believe it was, a deranged man. But nonetheless, they have now used that tragedy to pass a new anti-Semitism law, they say. But within that anti-Semitism law, it stipulates that if you criticize the Israeli government, that is also a form of anti-Semitism.
Which is insane. Can you imagine if they did this with Ukraine?
If you say, what? you can't criticize Ukraine or Russia.
Or if you criticize Zelensky, you know, you're anti-Ukraine. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like some bullshit. I mean, it's just crazy.
Right. So this is proliferating because
if you talk about Zelensky's SNL tap dance performance, you're going to jail. If you bring up his tights, if you bring up the shimmy that he did, you're done.
Yes. That's kind of what's been happening, is that they're conflating the two completely, and it's like they're ramping it up a notch, right? Because now they've officially taken over TikTok. You haven't posted on there in the last couple days, but I'm very curious. The next time, it doesn't matter what topic you talk about, I'm curious what happens to that video, because I've been hearing a lot of creators that not even talking about this issue, they're talking about other things, and their views are like zero. If you're like a news content, even Aaron Parnas, I heard somebody say Aaron Parnas videos are getting like kiboshed as well. You know, I don't, you know, but I'm a man of principle, even though I don't like Aaron Parnas.
Don't lie.
I
know what I'm saying. Don't lie that you're not a little happy that if he got 0 views on his story, there's not a little joy that comes across your face. I will happily say that there would be.
But look, so they're basically turning that into a full propaganda platform. I think
I saw a clip.
Over.
I don't know if we have this. Yeah. Who's the new CEO of TikTok?
Yeah, we have it. Yes.
Is the clip you have the one where he
TikTok
says
CEO.
You're allowed to say?
Yes, this is the one.
Oh, okay, I almost put it this in, but I had a feeling you had already added it. So I was right.
I'm all over this.
I
designate the use of the term Zionist as a proxy for a protected attribute as hate speech. So if somebody were to use Zionist, of course you can use it in the sense of you're a proud Zionist, but if you're using it in the context of degrading somebody, calling somebody a Zionist as a dirty name, then that gets designated as hate speech to be moderated against. Over the course of 2024, we tripled the amount of accounts that we were banning for hateful activity. We also have, I think, over 24 Jewish organizations that are constantly feeding us intelligence and information when they spot violative trends. There is no finish line. There's no finish line to moderating hate speech, identifying hateful trends, trying to keep the platform safe. There's no such thing as an end game.
See, I don't understand. So, like, what I don't understand is the difference between saying, even if somebody who's super, super radical and saying Israel should be eradicated off the face of the earth. I'm not saying that, by the way. I'm saying if somebody were to say something like that, that is somehow anti-Semitism. But if somebody were to say, I want to eradicate Iran off the face of this earth, that's just completely appropriate.
That will be boosted.
Yeah, exactly. That's just...
That will be 1 million views.
Yes. So I think this is the only solution for this, for them to make this work, is just full-on censorship police state situation.
Look, this has been going on for a while now. In the UK, they did the Ministry of Truth. Oh, no, I'm sorry. It was in Ireland. I did this story. It was in like 2023. They basically started a Ministry of Truth where they hired all of these unelected officials that were going to, go and monitor everybody's social media feeds and see what they're saying. And so it's been happening, for the last, 3 years and now, of course, Larry Ellison and these guys have the #1 platform. And so, censorship is going to be here and alive, and it's going to be on this specific topic, just like in 2020, 2021, 2022. It was COVID stuff. And it'll be interesting to see, like, for example, chemtrails. I was never allowed to talk about chemtrails. Any chemtrail story I did, just the word chemtrail, immediately banned, right? Strikes, like the whole thing. It'll be interesting to see, like, will that no longer be banned? You know what I mean? Like, which are they just going to just stack up the things that they're banning? Or are they going to be like, you know what? No longer allowed to say Zionist, but chemtrails are in.
From what I don't know if you've seen Dylan Page, who is the top news creator on TikTok. He just did this whole expose, and his account got banned temporarily last year, and he didn't know why. So in that video, he revealed that the reason why his account was quote-unquote banned, suspended, was because he logged into a Wi-Fi network that was connected to another user that had been banned previously. It's just like weird stuff like that. And he's saying, and he was looking into, because he was sharing videos on Venezuela, right? There was a few weeks ago with Maduro and all that stuff. And he was saying every single one was getting taken down.
And he's also in the UK. So some of his stuff is being taken down from UK censorship, which is actually worse than even TikTok.
Well, I mean, TikTok, this is TikTok censoring him. And the reason why they gave is that, somebody's account shared his video that was a problematic account. So then, therefore, that video got taken down. So it's all kinds of like weird censorship stuff. So I'm curious. I don't know when you're going to post to TikTok next, but
probably tomorrow.
I'm curious of like what would happen to that video, because right now it's kind of a mess. I think some of it is probably due to like a technical thing where they're switching algorithms.
I'm going to do a video and it's going to be titled "I Am and Love Zionists," and I'm going to say that, and I'm going to get 12 million views. So that's what I'm going to do. No, obviously I'm kidding. Anybody that doesn't know that's a joke. It'll be interesting to see. I don't know. Like if I'm reporting on like the snowstorms, is it going to be 0 views? I have no idea.
Yeah. Well, if you're going to throw in weather modification, maybe.
Right.
So we'll see. So they've definitely amped up the censorship as of late. And before we jump into going into like the Christian Zionism stuff and why it's important, I do want to play that part of the clip of Andrew Tate explaining kind of the moves that the government makes. I thought that was very interesting in that there's like a few moves that they have.
Oh, I also put this clip on here. Yes.
Perfect.
Everyone has an accusation except for Nick Fuentes, and he's a virgin,
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the reasons, probably the only reason Nick is still on the internet is because he avoids women. Because if he had had a sexual history by now, they would have caught him. Nick's problem is that you get 3 lives. The first life is to cancel you. They've already canceled him. But now he's kind of back. So he did good. But they canceled me and I came back. I invented coming back from cancellation. I was the first motherfucker to ever get canceled and get bigger. First one. Nick got canceled, didn't get bigger. He disappeared for a long time. I got canceled and got bigger. Realest nigger alive. I invented that. Second, they try and put you in jail. Third, they kill you. The problem that Nick has, and I actually really like Nick, is that if his taxes are in order and he ain't touching women, they haven't got much they can get him with on stage 2. And that doesn't mean they let you off. That means they skip stage 2 and they just kill you. Let's talk about Charlie Kirk. Why did they not just put him in jail? Because no one's going to believe Trump's DOJ prosecuting Charlie Kirk. Doesn't make sense. He's Trump's friend. Why would the Department of Justice try and prosecute Charlie Kirk? He's squeaky clean. Taxes paid. He's not like me. I made it easy for them. He's fucked 1,000 women. Call him up. Get him. Right? He ain't fucked 1,000 bitches. He ain't running around fucking with all these girlfriends like me. They went through his life. How are we going to get him in jail? How are we going to get him in jail? How are we going to get him in jail? You know what? There's literally nothing here. Next. Bang. I'm lucky with me. I gave them the layup. If I had lived squeaky clean like a dummy, if I had done everything right, they would have just killed me. But instead, they're like, we have to fix this Andrew Tate problem. Killing people is messy, and it makes them a martyr. It can make them bigger. And even as a government, killing someone in another country, even the Brits killing someone in Romania, I know how this stuff works. Trust me. They have to speak to the Romanian government. They have to try and clear it all. They have to understand their agent might get arrested. Then there's an international incident to get him out. Even the Russians, when they killed that guy in Germany, you can look it up. He got arrested. He was in jail for 3 years before Putin could swap him. The governments, when it comes to personal assassinations outside of drone strikes in third world countries, even they don't like to really do it. Macron could kill Candace, but even he is like on American soil, an American citizen. It's still a big deal for a government. So when they said, let's get rid of Andrew Tate, our options are to kill him or put him in jail. Well, let's see how we can put him in jail. And they looked for 10 seconds. They're like, oh, fucking hell. He's a fucking treasure trove. He was a fucking fighter. He sold weed when he was 18. He's fucked every girl he fucking could. He was running around drunk. He fucking drove cars too fast. Fuck this guy. Just fucking get him. I gave it to him on a plate. I'm not stupid. I know I did. Of course I gave it to him on a plate. I fucked everyone. So Nick's problem is he hasn't given it to him on a plate. Because people talk about my human trafficking accusations. You can look it up right now. The British government took 3.2 million pounds of my money for tax evasion too. So they got me for that. They get me for this. They're like, just fucking get him. And I just keep giving it to him, laying it up. I'm a dumbass. So, but it saved me, or I would be dead. Nick's problem, and I really care about Nick, is that it's almost like, I have lots of businesses, and I have a restaurant. And in my restaurant, I let my staff steal a little. Because if I let them steal none, they quit. And if I let them steal too much, I don't make any money. So I make sure that I allow them to steal enough so that they feel happy to go to work and they think they're winning. But I am also on it enough to stop them stealing so much I don't make profit. Like you have to give you have to give a little. If you're too strict, it gets worse. And I gave the enemy the second strike, and Nick didn't, or he hasn't, or he won't, or he can't. And Charlie didn't, and we look what happened to him. So I'm worried about Nick. I'm actually genuinely worried about Nick. And I think that Nick is smart enough also to worry about himself.
Why do you think Charlie Kirk was assassinated? Do you think it was because of feminism?
Let's talk as professionals here. Sorry for the pause. I'm just scanning what's going to keep me alive. So I know who killed him. And the only person who is overtly giving theories as to who killed him publicly is Candace. The reason Candace is breathing is because she is a woman and because she is black. And the people in charge have thought, they've concluded, you know what, let a black woman scream. Most people will, even if they listen to her, it's a black chick and we're just going to let her scream into the air and we'll just put it down to black female hysterical. actions. So let's put it down to that.
You think that's it?
Yeah. We'll get some bots on Twitter, and we'll get everyone to call her crazy, and we'll pretend she's hysterical, and we'll push all of this narrative
that are sort of. I mean, I believe the strategy, right? You have the three moves that they can make. They censor you, or they throw you in jail, or then they eliminate you completely. I think that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I'm coming out of that clip because the clip I had was like 30 seconds, and it's I feel like mind numbing to listen to him for that long. He really is like, he's like, and they came after me, but I let my employees steal, and like he's like promoting. He's such a narcissist. It's hard to listen to him, but don't you think? I mean, he's kind of like I just can't. But yeah, I think that they probably he makes some sense about the Candace stuff.
I don't know why he calls her.
I don't either, and I think that.
Is it because he's lived in Romania? Is that how they pronounce it over there?
I I don't know. But I think the Nick Fuentes thing, the fact that he said, like, they banned me and I got bigger. Nick, I'm sorry. Like, you are on the decline, Tate. Andrew Tate's on the decline, okay? And in my opinion, from what I see, I don't know if the numbers support this, but as a viewer, Andrew Tate's going like this, right? And Nick Fuentes is on the rise. Well, so this whole idea that he's like, and I'm the best, and I'm the real this, and I'm the da-da-da. It's like, okay, we get it. You're great. Bow down. But yeah, I'm sure that is a, good play for Nick, that he's not hooking up with all these girls. Because
he's saying it's a bad play. It's a bad play. Because he's saying that you eliminate the second step, and you just go straight to the kill.
Well, it also makes it much harder for them to, like, do what they did to Charlie Kirk and infiltrate him with an Erika Kirk.
Interesting. Yeah, I think we're going to get into that in a second. Well, so Nick's got to basically stay in his bunker, essentially. He's got to do his show. He's got to go nowhere, stay in that bunker. And it's not like I agree with Nick on all that stuff. He's been going weird directions, saying that,
14-year-olds are fair game.
Yeah, exactly.
No, but I really, at this point, I don't know, but I do feel like Erika Kirk was a setup for Charlie. That's another thing that he didn't bring up. That easily could happen to somebody who's sleeping around, right? Nick could be captured.
For a good guy, yes. Not for an Andrew Tate, because he doesn't care about women, and he tosses them aside after he's done with them.
Yeah.
Right? Charlie's was a devoted man. So he was able to be honeypotted. Allegedly.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And tricked, it seems.
Exactly. It tricked.
And what's funny? I was thinking about this the other day. This is kind of off topic, but when we first filmed in the studio and we were like on your side of the studio with the red curtain, and we weren't live yet. We were just filming, and you had brought up something I had said behind the scenes, and you cut it out. And I was like, I wouldn't be surprised if Andrew Colvett and Erika Kirk are having an affair. Yeah. And now I'm like, I wish you would have left that in. I was on the fucking money before anybody was saying this.
Yes, that was at the time. It was right after.
No one was criticizing Erika.
Yeah, we were just like, hey, widow, let's give her a little bit of grace. Let's let her mourn. And then she took that away from herself. Okay, by her ridiculous actions, she gave us the card to play, because we weren't going to play that card, but then she's gone off the rails.
Okay, speaking of Erika, if I can just bring this up. This is a clip of Erika interviewing a CIA analyst about EMP attacks. Have you seen this?
I haven't seen. I saw the one where she's in that documentary about the EMP, and I think it might have been the same dude, honestly, in that documentary.
I'm going to fast forward so we don't have to listen to another boring clip. So I don't know all of the things, but I looked this up, and it's called the Wake Up America show or whatever that we're about to play. And I was like, that kind of sounds like it could be a part of TPUSA, right? Like Wake Up America, it's like the same vibe. No, this was from 2012 that she did this interview.
Okay.
Which this is
what is Wake Up America?
It's like a show that was like a podcast type show. But the thing is like 2012, that's what, 8 years before she even met Charlie, she's interviewing a CIA agent. Let's watch this really quick.
Communications,
But she's from a middle-class
transportation,
family.
business and
Like
finance,
Kamala.
and even food and water would become unavailable.
Mhm.
The Congressional EMP Commission on which I served estimated that given a year-long blackout that would result from a nuclear EMP attack, 9 of 10 Americans could die from starvation, disease, and societal collapse.
Wow.
And you could do this with a single nuclear weapon, just one nuclear weapon.
Wow.
And we have seen Iran write in its military doctrine, this is basically why they want the bomb. We've also seen them practice launching missiles from short-range missiles from ships to simulate an EMP attack.
Hi, and thank you for watching the Webathon Live here on Wake Up Media Network. I'm sitting here with Dr. Peter Pry, and this is my second interview with you, so I'm so glad that you're back here sitting with me talking about EMP stuff.
Well, thank you so much for having me back. I love to be interviewed by you.
Oh, well, thank you. And it was so awesome to have you at the gala event last night. And too, I don't think that my generation, since we didn't go through the Great Depression and you know, Vietnam War and all of this stuff, I think that we view an EMP attack as something that's really might not happen, but at the same time, it will affect everybody. It won't just affect lower income or, you know, kids in New York or anywhere. It will affect everybody, and I don't think a lot of people realize that. And there's some people that are talking about it here and there, but between funding and people being aware of what's going on and how to prepare, I don't think it's there, right?
Okay, this is crazy because 2012 is when Charlie Kirk graduated high school. And this is what his trad wife was doing, interviewing CIA EMP experts.
Yeah.
That's not odd?
It's very odd. I think the whole Erika Kirk backstory has now completely been debunked. She is not some just regular middle-class girl that had a normal upbringing and this and that. There's something weird. And she goes from that to like Romania. What is going on here, right? This is clearly she don't give a fuck. Okay?
No. And people are pulling up this clip right after Charlie was assassinated, and people are now saying it's a Freudian slip because at this point, she was saying Tyler Robinson was the guy that killed Charlie Kirk, which of course she stuck to that story. She says, we know who did it. I have the da-da-da. But notice, somebody pointed this out here. She says evildoers.
The evildoers responsible for my husband's assassination.
We don't need to play anymore.
Well, this is like that one clip that she had at Amfest. I don't think we have it in this particular show, but the one where she said, once Charlie was assassinated.
Yeah, but okay.
Right? She's another Freudian slip is what I'm saying, right? She's saying evildoers here. There she's saying she basically anticipated his assassination, which is very, very odd thing to say. You would say when Charlie got assassinated, not once.
And if you really believed that it was a lone gunman, you would not say evildoers. You know, I wouldn't.
Well, maybe she's throwing in the furry, just playing devil's advocate. She's throwing in the furry into the evildoers.
I just also...
the furry boyfriend, yeah.
I can't wrap my head around... Maybe I'm too, like, Italian for her. Because I can't wrap my head around her, like, addressing these... I'd be like, the motherfucker that did this to my husband, look out your window. I'm going to haunt you in your... I'd be, like, on a full thing. Much more like Candace is doing than Erika. I think that's why the public responds so much more favorably to Candace, because it's like, oh, this is someone who actually wants to find out what happened. Not someone who's going on a let's make heaven crowded with pedophile pastors
yes,
tour.
we talked about that last week.
Insane. Like, it's insane.
And they knew this too, and they still chose to do the pastor thing.
And have you seen now the videos, we don't have this, but the videos now coming out of the TPUSA employees getting fired?
Yeah, I've seen that.
Like,
I covered that last week on my show there, and there's 40 people plus purged.
Yeah. From
TPUSA.
They're just...
Speaking of which, okay, so let's talk a little bit about this donor text thing.
Okay.
Because this is all going to connect here. We're gonna bring it home, I promise you, at the end of this episode, this whole thing here. So if people have been following this story, shortly before Charlie Kirk was killed, he received this very threatening message from a donor. And this is the message that, if you remember the interview, Charlie was talking to Megyn Kelly.
Yes.
Right? He was like, I have people here calling me an anti-Semite. This is what I believe the text, the donor that he was referring to. And if you see this, right, it's is this the top? All the people that trusted you, Jews and Christians, including me, why would you platform anti-Semites like Candace and Tucker? There are many evangelical Christian Zionists, which we're definitely going to go more into later, who would never give these people the opportunity to spew their hatred. I'm one of them. You say you say people are accusing you of being an anti-Semite because you disagree with the Israeli government. Well, what is it exactly that you disagree with? Well, maybe the genocide. I don't know. But anyways, yeah, you threaten Jews and Christians with your 30 million followers. Are you kidding me? Be very careful. Sounds a little bit like a threat. I don't know. And she goes on to say, you're in violation of the 9th commandment by bearing false witness against your brother Judah. When was the last time you read the Bible, Charlie? I'm coming to you as a believer. Genesis 12:3, Obadiah. Okay, so Genesis 12:3 is that those who bless Israel will be blessed. Those who curse Israel will be cursed. And at the end, she goes into this other thing about how Jews are under attack. God warned us in the last days that he will wipe out the descendants of Edom because they stood by while their brother, I think, did nothing. If you keep going down there. Stood by while their brother Jacob / Israel was held in captivity and did nothing. So because of this, we were essentially able to sleuth out who this donor was, okay?
And who presented this text message?
Candace Owens.
Of course she did.
So Candace Owens last, I believe it was Thursday's show or Friday's show, I can't remember, she went into this text message. She did not tell us who sent the message. And of course, the internet does what the internet does.
Love it.
Is we immediately, because I was doing the same thing too. I'm like independently trying to Google this, because it was a pretty long message. There's some pretty idiosyncratic language being used there. So then you run it against like other things that have been said on the internet about this. And people essentially, I think if you go to the one, E5, the text comparison. Okay, so listen to this message and then have it just a full screen this.
You will never believe what I just saw. I was watching the Will Cain show on Friday, and Will Cain was interviewing Charlie Kirk with Turning Point USA. But Charlie Kirk had the audacity to say, no, we shouldn't get involved. He cited our involvement with Libya and with Gaddafi, a terrorist regime and a terrorist state. But he's using that as a comparison to why we shouldn't get involved with Israel in defending Israel against Iran. Charlie, what are you thinking? Ladies and gentlemen, there is a movement. Start watching these talking head shows and look at the youngers, the 30-somethings, the 40-somethings, the isolationists. They're now saying we shouldn't be getting involved in this war. Well, you know what? I don't want to be involved in Russia's war, and I don't want to be involved in Ukraine. But when it comes to Israel, I've read my Bible, and I know I better be, because in Genesis 12:3, God told Abram, I will bless those who bless you and curse him who curses you. And he who ignores you, Israel, I will utterly destroy. He told the prophet Obadiah that in the last days, I think we can all agree we're living in the last days. In the last days, he will wipe out the descendants of Edom because they stood by Charlie Kirk while their brothers were held in captivity, Israel. And they did nothing. Who agrees with that philosophy? That's Bannon. That's Tucker Carlson. That's Candace Owens. And now it's Charlie Kirk. You know, Charlie, don't use that as an excuse. Don't use a terrorist rogue state in the Middle East as the excuse why we shouldn't stand with Israel and have Israel's back. Are you out of your mind? Don't you know your Bible, Charlie? God told the prophet Obadiah in the last days he would wipe out the descendants of Edom because they stood by while their brother Jacob, Israel, was held in captivity and they did nothing. Is that what you're going to do, Charlie? You and Tucker and Candace and Steve Bannon, are y'all just going to stand there and let Israel defend herself? Well, don't speak on my behalf. And don't speak on behalf of over 2 billion Christians who agree with me, because you guys are going to sell Israel down the pike. So ladies and gentlemen, do me a favor. I want to hear your comments below. Please send me your thoughts.
So there's some rage from this woman here.
Okay, sorry. But like, I have never seen this, and I just have to like ask a couple questions here.
Okay.
As a Christian, Israel in Genesis, they're referring to a person.
Okay.
Israel, the country, wasn't founded until 48?
Yeah.
So what the fuck is she trying to do here?
Well, she's trying to use scripture.
Yeah, but if
justify political foreign policy.
Right, but if Israel's name in the Bible was Bob,
yeah,
I'm just saying, like, how, like, no, she does not have 2 billion people that agree with her. It says Bob. It says Bob. No. This is like it's the same thing as anti-Semitism and anti-Israel, right? They're conflating the two. That's what she's doing. She's talking about a person, and then she's bringing it forward thousands of years later that now there's a country named Bob, and she's saying, you better stand with Bob. No, it's not the same thing at all. And also, this is the Old Testament. Jesus came in the New Testament. It's just, it's like ridiculous for me. It says in the Old Testament, don't eat pigs. Christians don't abide by that law.
Well, so they're capturing, because they know that you can't really. So there's two things in terms of like the U.S. government trying to support Israel or wanting to support Israel. There's two considerations. One is like a strategic asset where we think that we can benefit because we're allies with them through whatever location that they're in. We can put military bases over there. We can have influence over there. That's one particular consideration. But that consideration isn't really working that much anymore because they're looking to be more and more like a strategic liability for us. A lot of, global analysts have said this, is like Israel is actually a liability for the United States, and that we should look for other allies in the region, such as Saudi Arabia or Qatar or the UAE, right? They're not the only ones there. So then how do you ensure American support for Israel? How do you ensure support like from the guys like Mike Johnson and these kinds of people? Is through scriptures, through the Bible, through making this a holy war.
They're preying on the uneducated. They're preying on people that don't know history. And it is really, that is evil to me. To prey on people that, are going to listen to this lady and think, oh, it says that are trying to do the right thing. Look, at the end of the day, you can believe that Jonah was swallowed by a whale, or you can believe that that's a story to teach you a lesson. At the end of the day, I don't care if you're a Christian, you're a Jew, you're a Muslim, you're a Buddhist, you have a soul. And your soul should be a compass that guides you towards right and wrong. When you see children being murdered by a country, that's wrong. You don't go back to scripture to justify it because Bob was named as the brother of Abraham. It is the dumbest thing that I've ever heard. And I feel that is so evil that she is trying to manipulate people that are uneducated. Because there are going to be people that are going to listen to that or, this whole theory, and they're going to think, oh my God, it says that in the Bible. I have to be a good Christian, whatever, and I have to stand by that, not realizing that, the history. It's
absolutely
sick.
And this started about at the same time as Zionism was taking off in Europe, the political ideology in the early 1900s. They started to realize that they started to formulate how are we going to generate the support that we need to establish the state of Israel and to keep it going. And that's where the story of the Schofield Bible ties into this, is that how do you use scripture to justify a political project, essentially. And this is about a 5-minute description of the Schofield, but I think it's where I played it on my channel because I think she summarized it in about 5 minutes, which I think is really difficult to do in this topic because you're basically going through the history of the evolution of the Bible and the different versions and the notes of the things that basically took something that, to your point, right, it was nothing about the state of Israel to now using it as like, basically the word of God that we need to do this. You will be blessed if you do this, but if you don't do this, you will be cursed.
Yeah, and I am looking forward to watching a 5-minute clip But can't wait. But I will
promise
just
this
say,
clip will be. It's very educational.
my ADD, like I'm going to be looking at the grooves of the wood in the cabinet at minute 3. But I will say that it is known that the Bible has been interpreted for different people in power to serve their narrative over the last, thousands of years since the inception of the Bible. King James, right? It's been done and done. So that might be the summary of what she's about to say, but let's play the 5-minute clip.
Let's do it.
Told you that a lot of what American evangelicals believe about Israel and end times prophecy was essentially inserted into Christianity through one book. In 1909, a guy named Cyrus Scofield published something called the Scofield Reference Bible. It was the King James Bible, but with Scofield's own commentary notes printed right alongside the actual scripture. And these notes taught something called dispensationalism, which is this idea that God has different plans for Jews versus Christians, and that the modern state of Israel plays a critical role in end times prophecy. Here's what Scofield wrote about Genesis 12:3, which is, I will bless them that bless thee and curse them that curseth thee. His note said, has invariably fared ill with the people who have persecuted the Jew, well with those who have protected him. The future will still more remarkably prove this principle. Genesis 12:3 is about God's promise to Abraham, but Scofield applied it to how modern nations should treat the Jewish people, and by extension, the modern state of Israel, which didn't even exist yet in 1909. The Scofield Bible was published by Oxford University Press, and it was heavily marketed. It became the standard reference Bible in seminaries and churches across America, especially in the massive Southern Baptist Convention. It sold millions of copies. But here's where it gets even more interesting. After Scofield died, Oxford University Press kept revising his notes. In 1984, they published the new Scofield Study Bible and added this line: for a nation to commit the sin of anti-Semitism brings inevitable judgment. They intensified the interpretation. They made it stronger. And then modern Christian Zionist leaders like John Hagee, who's the founder of Christians United for Israel, well, they took it even further, okay? Hagee says, the man or nation that lifts a voice or a hand against Israel invites the wrath of God. Do you see the progression? Scofield started it, Oxford University Press amplified it after his death, and now megachurch pastors are preaching it as absolute biblical truth. Entire generations of Americans grew up believing these interpretations were basically as authoritative as scripture itself, as demonstrated by the infamous Ted Cruz and Tucker Carlson interview.
Where does my support for Israel come from? Number one, because biblically we're commanded to support Israel. But number two...
Hold on.
I'm not holding on.
Hold on. You're a senator, and now you're throwing out theology, and I am a Christian, and I am allowed to weigh in on this. We are commanded as Christians to support the government of Israel?
We are commanded to support Israel.
And there's evidence this wasn't organic. Scofield had close relationships with wealthy financiers, specifically a Wall Street lawyer named Samuel Untermyer, who was a passionate Zionist. Some historians suggest Untermyer helped fund and promote Scofield's career, including his trips to Europe, where he connected with Oxford University Press. Whether that's true or not, the result is undeniable. Okay, American evangelical Christianity was fundamentally reshaped to support the idea that blessing Israel, meaning the modern political state, is a biblical mandate. And here's the uncomfortable part. A lot of theologians, including conservative Bible-believing scholars, call dispensationalism heresy. They say it's a complete distortion of what Scripture actually teaches, but it's running rampant through megachurches in America.
Imagine being able to build anything just by...
So, that was a little bit of a primer for the Scofield Bible. So it's basically some guy wrote a thing, wealthy donors that are tied to the Zionist project.
No,
okay.
I was chatting.
Okay, I don't know what you're...
No, I was like, hey, chat, what's up? Like I'm the bad student in class. I just had to say that before maybe you see it pop up later. I'm back.
Okay.
No, but I got the gist.
Yeah.
I got the gist.
The gist is that this isn't an organic interpretation. This is like somebody that was funded by the Zionist project from the early days to infiltrate teachings of Christianity.
And they did exactly what they wanted. They captured a clown.
Who is the clown?
Cruz.
Well, he's not the only one. Mike Johnson,
of course,
is the same. I mean,
I'm just saying.
And you can see it we have a clip of what the manifestation of this is. If you go to the notes that we have, if you click on Sunday school curriculum right there, you could see a little bit of how this manifests in church, right?
The Jews are better than all of us. They're better than all of us. And you need to accept that. This is where, with the kids, where we start our indoctrination.
At least they admit it.
I know that's a strong word to use, indoctrination, that it, it gets such a bad reputation. But that's where it starts. That's where it started with me. When I was a child, that I was taught about the support that the church owes to Israel.
So all your loose change that you have from home, you bring that change to school. Everything that we get, we will actually cash it in and make a check out to the Fellowship for Christians and Jews.
And anybody that's ever been to our church would know there's a spiritual obligation of a Christian to Israel.
God gave a promise in Genesis chapter 12, and I'm going to bless all of those that bless you, and I'm going to curse all of them that curse you. Every nation that has blessed Israel, God has blessed them. And every nation that has opposed Israel, God has been in opposition to them. And I'm going to stand up for Israel. And if that offends you, you're in the wrong church.
Once again, we have these righteous gemstone pastors.
Yeah, very powerful people. Very influential people.
Yeah.
You have a lot of these. I mean, they've infiltrated the whole entire evangelical base, which is a very, very, prominent.
I disagree with that.
What?
That they've infiltrated the whole entire evangelical base.
Yes, they have.
I think that you look at the youth and all these students, these young people that were going to the TPUSA events are like conservative Christians for the most part, and they were all turning on Israel.
Well, because there's media that they consume outside of just going to church nowadays.
Right.
But
and
in terms of the pastors, I mean, they're bringing thousands, tens of thousands of pastors to Israel to make sure that this is what they're talking about in church.
I'm just saying, I don't think that it's like fair to say that if you're a Christian, you buy into this. I think there's a lot of okay.
I'm not talking about the individual people who go. I'm talking about on a leadership level in the church.
I thought you were talking.
The pastors have all been infiltrated. Okay, the pastor Rob McCoy's. Okay, this is the kind of stuff that he preaches, week in and week out.
Yeah, it's really interesting, and I don't know if this is true or not, but I don't believe that the Catholic Church teaches this scripture.
No.
And so I think that was why there was such a big debate between Candace Owens and the TPUSA people of Candace saying Charlie was actually going to mass. And he was being, there's rumors he was buried at the Catholic church or, in a Catholic cemetery, because that would go completely against the narrative that you have to stand with Bob.
Yes. And I believe the entire Turning Point USA organization took a interesting pivot, and this is when I was listening to Baron Coleman's podcast the other day. This is what he was getting into, and this is going to tie this whole thing together. Is that Turning Point USA, when it was started by Charlie Kirk, was in high school, and he was preaching at the time. The whole organization was about economic libertarianism.
Yes,
it was about austerity. It was about budget cuts, tax cuts, right? Just essentially like, I don't know who's the guy, maybe the Ron Pauls of the world, right? They believe the Tea Party guys. Okay, that's the stuff that they were talking about. And then all of a sudden around 2019, 2020, 2018, 2019, 2020, it took on a very religious
when
tone.
He met Erika Kirk.
Yes, yes. And if you could see, go to the 990, go to the TPUSA 990 tab. Okay, so you could see the money start to flow in right around the time that go back up to the top, the revenue. So you could see right there from 2013 to 2024 in that chart.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Okay. So that chart, you could see that it's a small organization up until 2018. And coincidentally, that is the year that Charlie first met Erika. And then it explodes. This organization explodes, and it completely abandons the economic libertarianism, core tenet, and it switches to this kind of evangelical Christian, whatever it is that they're doing now
Yeah.
with the TPUSA faith, with the pastors. It took on a very, very religious tone, okay, in all of their events. And I believe the hypothesis here is that it was deliberate in order for this organization to make sure that we infiltrate the youth of America and preach the Christian Zionist tenets from
The Schofield Bible.
Exactly. So it's just a coincidence that he was pointing out in that for some reason this organization completely took off once Erika and Charlie connected.
Interesting. I mean, look. Timelines, receipts. I don't know what the other line is, but it's a Salt Lake City Housewives famous line. But
I don't know.
it's exactly, we got it all on Erika.
And this ties into which I'm going to be doing a kind of a mini document. I'm very excited about this.
Okay.
Because this is going to tie into Japan and the CIA involvement in Japan and why. So the last international trip that Charlie Kirk took was to Korea and Japan. Right before he, came back and started this campus tour.
I hope he had some matcha.
Yeah. So there's, I think, a reason why he was over there, which I'll get into. But it's essentially around this thing called the Moon Cult. There's like this other church that they were funding, essentially, the CIA operations in Japan. Because what happened in Japan after World War II is that it was completely decimated, right, and it became a democracy. But there was like a large socialist movement in Japan after the war. And the U.S. did not want Japan to go socialist or communist the way China did. So the CIA came in and funded one of their main political parties called the Liberal Democratic Party. So when you hear a name like the Liberal Democratic Party, it's probably not liberal, it's probably not democratic, it's none of that sort. And that party has ruled Japan for about 70 years.
Wow.
So they win election after election, pretty much. And
now, tell me more about the Moon Cult.
The Moon Cult was this like religious church, a Korean dude, Mr. Moon, like Song.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
It's his last name.
Yes.
Okay, unfortunate. I was hoping it had to do with the moon.
No.
I was like, this sounds something like I would want to be a part of.
Yeah, so essentially I need to dig deeper into this, but essentially what that cult is like a religious cult thing.
Got it.
It was Korea, and then it moved to Japan as well. And the CIA was funding the Japanese government through this religious cult.
Well, now that I know it has nothing to do with the actual moon,
yeah,
I don't care. I mean, I do. I'm going to watch your short form, documentary and everything.
This is going to be long form.
Well,
this is long form.
I'm just saying. It also makes sense why the CIA wouldn't fund something that actually has to do with the moon, the real moon, because the moon is very powerful.
But anyways, this organization basically extorts the people who go there, like, what are they called? The congregation, okay, for a lot of money and this and that. And there was, I don't know if you know, there's an assassination of a Japanese prime minister, Shinzo Abe, like 6 or 7 years ago.
I was going to say fairly recently.
Yes. So that guy was deeply involved in this. His father was like one of the people who orchestrated this whole arrangement. And so the guy who killed him basically was doing it on behalf of taking down this church. So since he was assassinated, then there was this whole thing in Japan. All this stuff came out about this church and all the funding from everywhere, and essentially it kind of stopped. All this, the operation was exposed to the Japanese people. There was massive outrage in Japan. Okay, so now there's none of this operation, and that is when Turning Point USA started becoming very, very large, and then going over there to do these.
So do you think they were taking over? Do you think Charlie was trying to uncover what went on?
So that's the sort of the conspiracy theory is that the Turning Point was tasked to kind of take over that operation in Japan. Huge money going in, and the theory is that Charlie was not down with that.
Well, because we've seen now since his public execution, clips resurfacing of him speaking about the JFK assassinations, CIA's involvement, what really went on there. And so I could see that maybe, you know, he went over there. I'm creating a whole fake story in my head. He went over there. He wasn't down. His handlers seeing this and reporting back to her handlers, who are still currently at work. And, you know, we know how the story ends.
Right. So I have more to uncover there, but there could be some ties to that. Because the whole thing, and all of it is to sort of serve the Zionist project. They need to keep this alive, not only here in the U.S.,
well,
but
remember,
Asia.
right after like the Charlie Kirk assassination, when there was a ton of backlash and everybody was like, it was Mossad.
Yeah.
They were going over to all different parts of Asia, and they were doing all of their, were they doing it with influencers, or they were just like going on stage of, we're not worried about the United States right now. We need your support.
There was a clip of
all the
Pastor
propaganda.
Rob. I didn't put it in here. I should have put it in here with Pastor Rob, and he's like in a Korean church doing this after the assassination.
Interesting.
So I think there's something here that needs to be looked at.
Well, when it comes to Erika Kirk, there's this clip. I just wanted to play it. It's quick. And she basically is saying that, you know, she's been able to see who her true friends are. I think she says fake people. It's just...
When all of this happened, you really see who your true friends are. You see who is in your corner. You see who is writing, excuse me, this microphone, who is writing my husband's coattails, and who genuinely cared, and who genuinely wanted to be there for us as a family. And anyways, everyone, you know, does their best to pour into you.
The sound was low.
I just
I
feel
hear
like,
what was saying
well,
that.
she said that after Charlie's death, you really saw who their friends were. It really uncovered a lot, and you could see who was writing Charlie's coattails. And it's the first time on this show that I'm going to 100% agree with Erika. We can see clearly now. It's you, bitch. You're writing the coattails. You're the CEO. You're fake as fuck. You have all these lies, all the Amazing Race coming out, the CIA, the this, the that. You're the coattail writer. You're out here doing a Make Heaven Crowded thing with a pedophile.
Yes.
It's insane.
And it sounds a little bit, also the Make Heaven Crowded, it's like, are you killing people? Like, what are you, it's also a very weird name to choose.
What?
Make Heaven Crowded again, because to go to heaven, it's like, are you going to execute people or something like that?
Oh.
That's the thing that I think of, is like, Make Heaven Crowded is like, you have to die to go to heaven. So it's like, all right, we're going to kill all the good people. We're killing the good people because they go to hell.
Don't send me down that rabbit hole. I never thought of that.
Yeah, right?
Right. That is interesting. That's an interesting take there, James.
Yes, that's the first thing I thought of, was a Make Heaven Crowded. Okay, so heaven, good people go to heaven. How do we make it crowded? Well, they die.
Yikes.
And Charlie
was the
no
first
longer around.
to
No longer
go.
around, unfortunately.
Yeah, I don't think people would have thought about it that way. I originally interpreted it as like, we want all the good people, right? We want good people. But now that you say it, it'd be a lot easier for, you know, J.D. Vance and the Palantir, you know, PayPal mafia to usher in the surveillance state if we're all...
Well, yeah, because it's only the good people who end up on stage 3, to reference Andrew Tate. All the compromised people, they play ball. They're like, okay, I will go. Even Andrew Tate himself, he's like, you know what? Not worth it.
To me, Andrew Tate is Alex Jones 2.0.
I could see that. Well, okay, so
he's not in jail. He's back in the U.S. going to a Miami club. He's, you know, about to go kiss the wall, like Sneeko said. He's bought and paid for a freaking puppet.
Well, so what do you think happened to Alex Jones?
Like, are you saying...
Like, why is he now out there shilling for Palantir and saying all the, you know, deep state talking points? Like, he is, like, in charge of that now. He's leading the charge. Versus before, he was the one that was opposing.
Well, this is the big question, right? It's like the same reason, why is Dan Bongino saying, what's the most important thing to you? And he says, Israel. It's the big question. What happens when you're approached by the puppeteers of the world? What is it that all of a sudden you flip?
Yeah.
What are they threatening? I used to say they said that they would kill your family. Now I'm like, is it that? Or do they say, we'll nuke New York City so that you have a lot of blood on your hands and you're going to get in line because you try to hold on to doing the right thing. And the only way to do that is to now get in line and make sure that you're not responsible for the killing of millions and millions of people. I don't know.
Well, I think there's probably some of that with Alex Jones. One thing I can think of is that he got financially wrecked.
Well, for sure.
For the Sandy Hook thing.
Look,
and who did he go to for money? It always goes back to the money, right? We talked to Eric Moutsos about this. Is when the U.S. started going down this direction. Well, it was when we started doing the Federal Reserve, and then that whole system.
Yes.
And the only countries that aren't on those kinds of systems somehow gets couped or leader kidnapped, bombed, some kind of insurrection, domestic. I don't know, right? Those things are just.
The thing with Alex Jones that's hard to tell is he also either got MK Ultra cloned or he started taking TRT.
What is that?
Testosterone replacement.
Okay.
All of a sudden, his fat ass comes back jacked. And he has a different point of view. So either they put him in the lab and they released the new Alex Jones, or he just happened to be compromised the same time he started taking testosterone.
Yeah.
But it's like a whole new person.
Yeah. And I also think that, I don't know if you're wanting to move on from this topic, but I think that this whole thing of like trying to control the population, because ultimately the goal is like surveillance state, population control. It's not about liberty. It's not about religion. It's none of that stuff. It's just about how do we manipulate the population. And I think this is going to be somewhat controversial to say, but I think that's what's going on right now with the ICE protests. That is a population control, manipulation. It's not about immigrants. It's not really about even policing tactics. I think it's a divide and conquer type of operation.
Yeah. I think that we just got off of this interview with Eric Moutsos, so we're giving away the whole interview. But he said you can believe in border patrol and closed borders, and you can also believe that we should be able to check the ICE agents and be like, no, you're doing this wrong, Right. So both things can be true, but people are so indoctrinated onto one side, like this is some sort of a, NFL team that they're supporting, that it's like that truth gets lost.
Yes. And we can have I haven't made a video about that. I made, a couple of Renee Good videos when that happened, right? I participated in that conversation. But this time, I don't really want to participate in that conversation because I think it's the wrong conversation to have. You know what I mean by that? It's like they want us to argue about was this guy, the Second Amendment? Was this guy, did he holster the gun? Was he going at the cops? Was the cops doing the right thing? And anybody who watches that video will be like, yo, this is murder. This
100%.
Yeah.
Everybody agrees that was murder.
Not everybody, but unless you're a propagandist.
I would say majority believe. Like with Renee Good, there was she ran the van. Yeah. There was a bunch of backstory on her back and forth. This time, everybody's like, no, they fucking murdered him.
Yeah, so this time around, it was not like he was literally just filming. An ICE agent comes over, pushes a woman down, and he goes and tries to help that woman. And then the ICE agent tackles him. And then in the 20-second melee, his gun was unholstered. And I think that gun has some issues. That's why it's like a problematic gun, people say, is that it accidentally discharges a lot. And so you have to really know how to handle it. I think they were trying to disarm him. The ICE agent basically accidentally shoots the gun off. The other one, I think it was Border Patrol, right? Essentially clip dumps the whole, whatever it is, how many
don't ask me
bullets it has, but
yeah.
But essentially bang, 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 bang. And then without any sort of thought as to what happened. But I think that's the wrong conversation because I think that is just so obvious to me that's exactly what happened, and these guys are out of control because they're not the brightest
No,
of the bunch.
They're. I mean, look,
they're not.
we're not generalizing everybody in this group, but there's a lot of mall cops that became a part of ICE, right? And they got 40 days of training, and normally cops get a year. So look, it's like, it's just a bad recipe. It's a bad situation all the way around, and I think that they've orchestrated it that way to further divide, like you said, to your point.
And I think part of the responsibility is also on the Democratic Party. It's like, what made this guy choose this issue? Because it's dangerous. Now we know these guys are not well trained. Something could happen. You could be totally following all the rules. You're just standing there filming totally within your constitutional rights, and all of a sudden, 20 seconds later, you're dead. What would compel a person, a good person in my opinion, to go out there and say this is worth the risk? That's the big question. I think that's the conversation we should be having, because look, there's a lot of other things going on right now that I think we should be in the streets about. Okay, number one, Epstein files. Okay, none of the pedophiles involved have been arrested. There's no investigations. That is a unifying issue that I think we can all get behind, and that's worth, I think, fighting for, right? We want justice in this country. That's an issue. The other issue could be around spraying food with pesticides, poisoning the food system. I think we should be in the streets for that. I think we should display public disobedience, or whatever it's called, First Amendment protests for getting harmful ingredients out of food. I think that's a unifying. Why isn't the Democratic Party or the Republican Party unifying people and saying this is so bad, we need to take to the streets to make sure that we get clean food, right? We get pedophiles, we get clean food. Another thing, they've just last week, they passed a law saying that they can now, from 2028 onwards, remotely shut down cars.
That's what I was just going to say. I have that here.
That we should be in the streets on that.
Oh,
why are we
hell
not,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Why are we not...
in case you missed this, the kill switch law for new cars just became real. Okay? Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act requires new vehicles starting this year, 2026, to include tech that can detect driver impairment and shut down your car. The whole thing was, it was supposed to be if you're drunk driving, they can look at you and they should. We know that ain't the case.
No.
We know James is going to say he's against Bibi Netanyahu, and he ain't going to the next stoplight, ladies and gentlemen. They're stopping you right in your fucking tracks.
Look, I'm keeping the car that I have, okay? But my point is, these are all very legitimate issues to be voicing our opinions, exercising our First Amendment rights
100%.
over, but they choose the issue that's the most divisive, which is like a wedge issue around immigrants. Like, you can be pro-immigrant, you can be anti-immigrant. There's no really right or wrong answer to that, because based on your background and what you believe a country should be. Some people are like, we just want to be us. Like, Scotland should be Scotland. Like, we should have no more people coming in.
Yeah.
Right? It's just an issue that there's no answer. It's like the same thing as abortion, LGBTQ, gay rights.
Right, you have to take one side or the other. You can't be like, with abortion, like, I think a woman has the right to choose, but also, like, I don't agree with, third trimester or second trimester or whatever.
But there's no right or wrong answer to those questions, was what I'm saying. This issue has no right, like, immigration has no right or wrong answer. It's really based on your ideology and what you believe. But they pick this. They don't pick the issue of pedophiles, which we all agree on. They don't pick the issue of
food,
taking your
poison food, fluoride and chlorine in the water, this and that. No, it was funny though. I saw a comedian do a skit about the whole ICE thing, and I think it was in relation to Renee Good.
Yeah.
And he's like, whatever happened to the pot-smoking Democrats?
Yeah.
He's like, whatever happened to that? You light up a joint before you go protest. Renee would have said, I don't know if this is a good idea.
Yeah.
None of this would have happened.
Yes.
But I thought that was so funny. I'm like, truly though, like, why aren't people taking a breath, smoking a J, calming down, instead of getting themselves so worked up?
Well, because they've mobilized these people for this particular issue, and you have to be very, very wary of what the goal is here, right? You can blame. It's like, this guy was killed by a border patrol agent that was not well trained and did not act as his training should have. But it's also like, was this guy in the streets? Like, you mobilized this guy to be out there for this particular issue. You know, I think we have to be very suspicious of that as well.
The last Robosphere said, Danny, have you seen Hakeem Jeffries? That dude is hitting the vape pen all day.
I have not seen Hakeem. I would be shocked if Hakeem Jeffries was hitting the vape pen.
Really? I mean,
Weed,
I don't know much about him.
Or tobacco. I don't know. But if you're talking about weed, I mean, Hakeem Jeffries is like an APAC too. I don't think he's hitting any. I mean, no. Because if you're hitting that pen, you'd be like, yo, bombing babies. Doesn't sound, I don't like this. You're not going to be out there doing whatever the hell he's doing. Well, I think, Charlemagne calls him, APAC Shakur. That's his nickname for Hakeem Jeffries.
Someone said, laugh my ass off. He looks and sounds high as hell.
That may be true. We should pull up a clip of Hakeem. Can we find a clip of Hakeem?
I mean,
yeah, live.
Go ahead, put it into the production notes. Look, I think you never really know if someone's
smoking weed.
Yeah. So, or whatever drugs people are on,
Yeah, let me see if I can find one on.
I thought it was funny, like on one of our earlier shows.
Yeah.
Someone was like, Danny needs to tune it down. She's so loud. Lay off the gummies. And I'm like, you've clearly never taken a gummy before. Like you're looking at the wrong thing.
Yeah, I'm just gonna put in Hakeem down here, but I don't. This is a random clip, so I don't even know what
you're looking at.
He's saying.
But didn't he wear a diaper?
I don't know.
24 hour, wasn't he holding the?
No. That was Cory. That was Cory Booker.
Oh.
That was Cory Booker. And also that 24-hour Cory Booker speech was about nothing. He was fighting for nothing.
I think you have to click off.
Oh, sorry. There we go. Hakeem Jeffries. I have no idea what he's talking about in this clip. Literally the first clip I found. What is he saying?
Moral documents. And in our view, Mr. Speaker, budgets should be designed to lift people up. This reckless Republican budget that we are debating right now on the floor of the House of Representatives tears people down.
Look, if you're hitting the pen, you're not doing this job. You're not.
I disagree.
Really?
I think there's different personalities. I disagree. And
you think somebody who's like a big stoner is running for Congress?
Fuck yeah. Are you kidding me? 100%. Absolutely.
You know, I actually take that. I think Greg Stoker, who's a U.S. Army, I don't know if he smokes pot, but he looks like potentially a guy who would support that. He's right.
All do tons of drugs.
Well, what kind of drugs?
I don't think they're ruling anything out. You know what I mean? They're hitting Poly Market. They're making 700 G's on the side. They're like, let's go roll a blunt.
Yeah.
They don't give a shit. They don't care.
No, I'm not saying they do.
Oh, I was like, did I offend you with the blunt talk or something? I don't know what's going on here.
I'm not saying they do, but all I'm saying is I think the people are being deliberately misled.
And yes, okay, fine. I was just going to go back on the Congress thing.
Yeah.
I think they're being bought and paid for, and so they have to hit it at the end of the day to be like, it's okay, I had to do it for my family, There's a lot of different ways you could look at it. You know what I mean? A lot of different ways. But yeah, the kill switch thing is crazy.
Right? How was that allowed to be passed? That's like a sci-fi movie.
I think it still has to go through Senate.
It does?
Yeah.
It just passed the House? That's it?
Yeah.
Okay. Because if that passed, well, first off, I have a.
Did it? Can you ask
what?
Your AI?
Well, I'll just look. Did the kill switch thing pass? But yeah.
I think.
Cars kill switch law. Let's see here. Approved by House.
Okay,
so
that's what I thought. That's what I thought. Because I was like, this happens a lot, and then it doesn't go through, which is I'm hoping. I want to do a story on this, and we got to get the news out there on this because we need to make a big deal. We do not want kill switches on cars.
This is the issue that should be getting people in the streets. If they could shut down cars remotely, that's like, there's no end after that. Like this, you got to go First Amendment right, Second Amendment right. Go out there and make sure that the government can't control your car remotely.
Right, 100%.
That's like that movie. What is the name of that
movie? It's the Obama movie.
Which one?
Isn't it the movie that Obama and Michelle produced where all the cars stop?
Oh, it's that like disaster movie?
Yeah.
Where it's like it's not zombies, but it's like technology shuts down. There's nothing. Like all the planes are falling out of the sky.
Something like that. It's like old Teslas that don't move.
Yeah, I watched it. I didn't like that movie.
I didn't watch it.
I'm not a fan. But there's another movie called Upgrade, which is like this AI dystopia movie. And literally in that movie, not to give too many spoilers away, but essentially they're shutting down the car remotely to like hijack you and then to like go to a different place. That's like the beginning of that. If they can do that, you drive a Tesla. I'm sure they could remotely control your Tesla if it was legally allowed to do so. You
want to know how like crazy my brain is that I feel like they are watching, or they can watch you for sure, right?
They're monitoring you.
And like there are Celebrity Blinds Crazy Days and Nights that talk about how Elon will hack in randomly to certain people's cars and
just
watch
to check
them.
It out? Oh.
Yeah, or like if he like finds somebody interesting or like high profile people or whatever. And so anytime there's a camera, and this has been going on since like 2012 when I worked for this telecom company where I found out that like the Blackberries, they could track everything that you did. I've told you I always put like a sticky note on my cameras and this and that. Sometimes I'm like in my Tesla and I'll like look at the camera and I'm like, hello. Like as if somebody's on the other side. Like, hello, how are you today?
Yes.
And then I'm like, if somebody saw me, they'd be like, she's lost it, right? That's all I'll end up in the...
You're all over the target. It's like, hey, let's have a conversation here.
Yeah.
I know you're listening on the other side. I would never drive. I think I'm stuck with the car. I have an old car. I have a stick shift. Okay, I have a manual transmission vehicle that I'm never gonna give up at this point. I'm like, you can't remotely control the car. It's not even an automatic transmission. There's not even any computer mechanisms in there that controls how the car works.
No, I think that's smart.
And that's it. I'm riding that till.
You want to know what's even smarter? A horse and a buggy. I'm going to keep my Tesla, but in the back, I'm going to have, a retired Lucky 7 with a little buggy on the back, an ex-Kentucky Derby winner, you know what I mean? And just, hi-ya! And then that's the way out because, they could shut down the gas. But a horse, you ain't doing shit. That's why the Amish have it down.
I'm starting to really, really
wish you were Amish.
No, I don't want to say that necessarily, but like, as I just don't know enough about their lifestyle. But there is something to be had of like going off the grid. I don't know if that's like, if we ever get big enough and we were given the, if we had to sort of go kiss the wall, I would maybe be like, hey, what if I just disappear? Like, I would negotiate a disappearance. Like, if the day I disappear is the day that they got me.
That's what Kanye said, and then he came back 6 foot. He came back Kanye O'Neal.
Or is it like even going away is not good enough for them? It's like, if you're alive, you must follow their...
Yeah, you'd have to maybe bow out early, like Habibi. Or Habib.
You got to go out on top.
Guy.
Has there been any political commentator that has like sort of bowed out on top? Just said, I'm out.
I don't know. It's a good question.
Just like, I'm so successful. I've already made a ton of money. Peace.
I mean, in a way, Tucker Carlson has kind of done that because he's on like some remote piece of land in the middle of nowhere and now like owns his own show. But he's still very much a part of the conversation.
Yeah, I think Tucker is a little bit of this like controlled opposite. I think he's like a release valve on the conservative side because everything he's saying, everybody's feeling.
Yeah.
Like there's something wrong. And he's like the guy that they designate. You're allowed to say some of these things because if you don't let any of that air out, then there's a problem. So, for example, like Singapore. Singapore is like a very non-democratic, authoritarian state. You can't chew gum there. There's all kinds of laws there that are very oppressive, no free speech. But they have legalized prostitution.
Where?
In Singapore.
Okay.
So then that is the release valve for the citizens. There's a... That's what I'm saying. It's like they have to have a release valve for people. If you just, oppress, then you can't... There's got to be something to offset that. So on the Democratic side, there's like Bernie Sanders, who's the release valve. He's like bringing them back into the fold. Like, no, these guys are still good. Like he's out there saying the stuff that's not supposed to be said, quote unquote, about, populism, economic populism, this kind of thing. Tucker is the same on the conservative side. to let some of these things out about Israel, just to like keep people from like full on.
bay.
Exactly. That's my hypothesis. I have no evidence or facts. It's like on the show, not to bring up the show Traitors, but like these people in the round tables, okay, if people are watching that show, they're like,
great
what is
season?
They're like,
it's a great
I have
season.
the facts, I have the evidence. Like based on the evidence, I'm like, none of you guys have brought any evidence.
Colton's on the money with a lot of it.
No,
He
no,
has
he's not.
been. Oh my God, he has. I'm not a huge Colton fan. I tune in for Rob, the snake charmer, who I
I'm
love.
Sure, yes. But these guys are bringing up, my point is they're bringing up like data. It's like, there's no data. It's just like, oh, this person acted weird.
It's a feeling.
Yeah, it's more of a feeling than data. There's no, so I don't have data on Tucker. I was just a feeling. It's a feeling.
So yes, okay.
That's but it is a good season. It's a good season.
It's a really good season. It's a really good season. And for all of the people that like watching deranged shows, tell me lies. I didn't even know the third season had started. Oh, it's maddening. You guys know. Steven is a psycho. Okay, I'll just leave it there. But I also just would like to say that, I don't know if you saw this, that the government in El Salvador, the package that it delivered to all of its students, did you see this?
No.
While the United States is over here dealing with look what and I kind of fast forwarded this. Students in El Salvador, every single kid going to school.
Es el mismo estilo también eso. Han jugado mucho con la mente del salvadoreño.
They got shoes, they got a coloring book, they got a backpack, they got a new Dell laptop.
Wow.
Every single student in El Salvador.
You don't think there's some kind of spying thing on the laptop?
Who gives a shit?
Well, I mean,
you're spied regardless, but the bottom line is they're giving kids access to knowledge and learning in ways that we should be doing this shit.
I agree. I mean,
you're not putting any of this on.
Oh, sorry.
My God.
I cut it when it was in Spanish. I was like, oh, we can't understand what's going on.
You guys, they're getting Dell computers. Look at this. They're getting laptops. Like, don't you know, like, one of the big reason that there's like a learning gap between the lower income is because like they don't have access to internet and laptops and all these things. This is what we should be doing.
Well, I mean, that's true. It's like the Chinese version of TikTok is like very educational and shit, you know.
Someone just said homeschool is the only answer. I have to agree with that. And the thing is that like back when we were going to school, homeschooling kids were like, whoa. Yeah. You know?
It was
but
rare.
now, and they were kind of like, ooh, that kid's home, like, I don't know, right? Maybe I was just mean. But now there's, post-COVID, so many parents don't want to put their kids in school, and people are waking up to the indoctrination. There's like huge communities.
Yeah.
Like your kid's not like a loser if they're homeschooled.
Right. That's kind of the perception when I was growing up, but now it might be different. And I think knowing what I know now, it's almost like there should be, because I know that the stuff we were taught in school, a lot of it was propaganda.
Yeah.
Essentially, some kind of indoctrination thing.
Which is why I haven't fallen in, because guess what? I was a C student and I didn't pay attention to that shit. I broke out of the Matrix unintentionally.
I think I was fully in the Matrix.
Were you front row?
No.
Don't lie.
I was not. I was not that great of a student. That I think you probably overestimate my academic prowess.
Were you first or second or third row?
I was in the back. I fell asleep in every single class.
Really?
Yes.
Mm.
Every single class I fell asleep in. High school and college.
What was your GPA?
In high school, It was like 3.5.
Okay.
Is that high?
I mean, it ain't low.
Well, no. Kids nowadays are getting like 4.8, you know.
Well, now.
Yeah.
But when we were growing up, no, it was like 4.0 was kind of the top.
4, so I was not. I mean, I was 3.5.
I mean, you know. If you were sleeping and still getting a 3.5, like, not too bad.
Well, I'm a smart guy. That's the thing, because I would sleep through the whole class, and then I would just like Spark Notes the tests, you know.
That was the beginning of like the good part of the internet.
Yeah.
It was like Cliff Notes, Spark Notes, RateMyProfessor.com in college, and then what was the notes one that was around in school where people could get paid to upload their notes.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that one. I don't know what it's called. I can't remember.
Oh, it was great. I was getting paid for my notes.
Well, how did you have notes? I thought you were...
Well, because in college I discovered Adderall. And then they were like color-coded. They were like, bop, 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 bop.
Got you.
I all of a sudden went from a C student to a photographic memory. I was like, in 1842.
No, I never really liked school that much. I liked learning. I was always very curious, but I didn't like school.
I didn't care about the learning, but I liked school.
Okay,
so we were opposite.
Yeah. But okay, so the only issue with the homeschooling is that how do you get your child to like have social
well, now
interactions?
these homeschooling hubs, they all like
they have some kind of after
they're
school
doing
thing, yeah.
They're doing field trips, they're doing museum days, they're doing sports together, they're doing all the social stuff. That's what I'm saying. It's like a huge community.
Because I do think it is important to learn how you adapt to like I guess a place with a lot of different types of people. How do you navigate like the cool kids and the nerds and the cheerleaders? Like how do you want to prepare your kids to be able to handle those situations, like not be bullied and if you have them at home all the time, I don't really know. I guess you saying that they do come together and there is.
I mean, I know very little about it, but that's definitely the route I'm gonna go. And I do think it's important to like be with all the different groups of people. For me, for high school, for a lot of people was like they hated it, but for me it was like, it was an escape. I didn't want to be at home. So I liked it. I thrived in school.
Yeah.
I liked my teachers. I liked being involved in everything. I was at school as long as I could be at school. I'd get to school at like 7 a.m. and then I'd be involved in every single extracurricular. I wouldn't get home till 9:30.
Yeah. Okay.
p.m.
Wow.
Like I was there all day.
Yeah. I think I am a believer in that now, just because I know now we know everything about the curriculum. That's a hard word to say.
Clavicular.
Clavicular curriculum. And who's writing it. Even in Asia too. I learned recently in Taiwan, which is obviously a very important island for the U.S. and to be also opposition to China. Essentially, the CIA has infiltrated the curriculum of what's being taught in school there in China. So every single child that grows up there is like super, super anti-China. They're like, China is like the worst possible place in the world.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's because I remember listening to this podcast and they were talking about, when the Boeing planes are falling out of the sky,
No.
Well, with the 737.
Oh, okay.
Okay, there was like a bunch of crashes.
A couple, yes.
Right, Alaska Airlines, door blows out, and these Taiwanese podcasters were like, would you still fly in a Boeing right now, or would you go with a Chinese plane that has like no issues? And they're like, we're going Boeing. I'm like, what?
Wow.
That's crazy. But that's the indoctrination that you get in schools. It doesn't matter where you're being indoctrinated by somebody.
Even in China, of course, you're being indoctrinated as well.
With the Chinese Communist Party stuff, yes. So everywhere you go, like if your government is in charge of the curriculum, it is more or less.
But I
by
think
definition.
that the pendulum always swings, and I think that our generation having kids is going to be looking into like more free thinking education programs. I've already told you the ones that I'm looking at, which are like learning the plants, learning how to build, like water, resources, all that kind of stuff. So, look.
And to answer the pluripoll person, I was not a skater punk. I was like, I was pretty lame in school for the most part. I was in band, but I was one of those people that wasn't very good at music. I was in band, but I sucked.
Okay.
And I think I even fell asleep in a band rehearsal. And then I'd be woken, like the conductor was not happy. Like I'm like the troublemaker in the band. I'm in the back because I'm the trombone guy. And
I
we're
was
in the
just
back.
going to say, what was it again that you played?
Yeah.
I forgot.
I was playing trombone, so we're like in the back of the arrangement of the orchestra or whatever. And I'd just be like goofing off back there. And then there was times when they would point and say, all right, now play this part, individually. Because like it sounded bad, together. Like, all right, now one by one you got to play. And I'm like, oh God.
And then you'd be called out.
Just bungled it. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I wonder if we would have crossed paths. I feel like I would.
No, you would have been too cool, probably.
I would have cheated off of you for sure.
No, you wouldn't have, because I would not have had the answers. I was not that good from an academic.
He's such a liar.
I was not good, but I was always standing up for the rights of the people, That's who I always fought for the people. Like
Who were you fighting for? It was
for the
high
other
school.
students in the class. When I said there was a final where there was a question on the final, and
Isn't this college?
This is. I'm trying to remember because I did this multiple times.
Okay.
But anyways, it's definitely happened in college, but essentially on the final question on it, and I'm like, we never learned this. I'm going up to the front. And I'm like, guys, this question needs to be stricken from the test because we never learned this.
Okay.
And people, and then it created like some people were like very obedient, like, hey, shut the hell up, sit down, blah blah blah. Some people were like, yeah, we never learned this. I'm like rallying the class, and then trying to apply pressure onto not even the teachers or anything there. This is like a proctor who's like there. They're not even. They're like,
You
okay.
do realize you are proving my point.
What's that?
Only someone that was studying would know that wasn't on the study test.
Well, no.
To call out the question.
Of course.
My ass didn't know what the fuck was going to be on the test because I didn't even know what I was studying.
Well, that was my thing is like, I am, of course, going to study for the test. I'm cramming for the test. So then I go through and learn everything before the test.
Right. You learned it before the test.
Yes.
Yeah. That's great. I love that for you.
Well, somebody's got to dig up the information, right? Somebody has to research. I am a research. Yeah, I
My
love
mom
research.
told me before one test I had in high school that if I studied as hard as I cheated, I would be like an A student because I would come up with very creative ways. I don't know if you remember. There was every once in a while in class, like you could have one note card with notes in biology or something.
And did you have like everything on it or no notes? You just
I
forget.
found these note cards that were Post-it note cards. So when the teacher wasn't looking, I had a fucking book. I'd unpeel, flip, page 3. Unpeel, stick, page 4. Right? And then I feel like people did this too. I'd have a water bottle, and on the inside of the sleeve, I had my notes, so it was magnified.
Yeah.
So like I did fine. I got through. I got to, as I got older, I was like, I really got to get to college.
Yeah.
That was like, I got to move out. I got to get out of here. So then my grades came up and stuff. But I think there was a part of me that I liked the adrenaline of cheating. It like added an extra layer. Like it was fun and exciting, So there you go.
There you go. So I think for me it was I didn't like the structure. I like learning, like no doubt. Obviously, that's why I'm doing what I'm doing.
Well, so
but
do I.
I don't like being told what I need to learn about.
Well, you and I have that in common. So there you go.
So, anyways, that is the show for the week. Thank you, everybody, for being here.
Yes.
Right now, we all know what Turning Point USA is all about. People need to understand the reason why Turning Point exists. Right? It's really Christian Zionism. It's to support the state of Israel. I'm not going to beat around the bush about that. We're going to get banned off of this after this episode. But that is really the goal of that organization. Maybe not the only goal, but pretty near the tippy top.
I feel like you said that so fast you were in the fast forward mode.
Yeah.
Just now.
Oh yeah. Sometimes that's I gotta slow it down.
The tippy top. No, it was a great episode, and thank you guys so much for being here with us. I think Eric Mustos is going to be our next episode.
Yeah, we're going to have Eric Mustos on. He is a former Salt Lake City police officer who was canceled during I think it was back in the LGBTQ days for not wanting to march in a pride parade. And then he also, I think, made a documentary or produced a documentary during the COVID times, speaking out against the infringement of personal liberties.
Let's just put it this way. It's a great interview, and George Zinn, the Patsy and Charlie Kirk ended up in his DM. So tune into that. We love you guys. Thank you guys so much for the likes, all the comments. Love.
And thank you to the Patreon subscribers.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Can't forget you guys keeping the show going, helping build out the studio, the sign, getting these interviews. It all is possible because of you, because then we don't have to take any money from, I don't want to say who.
Turning Point USA.
I don't want to say who.
Yeah, and I loved chatting with you guys in that 5-minute video. It was just like being back in school. All right, guys. See you soon, and let us know what you think about all of this down below. And now we are done.